Once your media has been imported, you can come down to the project panel, open up a bin, and double-click on a clip to load it into the source panel. The source panel is a video player that, among other things, allows you to preview a clip. With the source panel selected, if I hit the spacebar, the clip will play. Spacebar again will pause the clip. Below the video preview area, I'll find a timeline, and I'll see a blue arrow representing the playhead. I can grab that arrow with the mouse, click and hold and drag, and scrub backwards or forwards in time. I can also use the shortcut keys J and L to fast forward and rewind. Hitting J once will play the clip backwards in real time. Hitting L will play it forwards in real time. Hitting L again will double the playback speed. Hitting L again will double that. Same thing applies for J. Hitting J once will play back in real time, again will double that speed, and again will double that speed. Above the timeline in the far left-hand corner is some blue timecode. This is the playhead position. This tells you where the playhead is in time. Here, the playhead is at 4 seconds and 13 frames. I can also use this timecode to tell the playhead where to be. If I select any blue text, it becomes editable. I can then type in the timecode for where I'd like the playhead to go. Now, I can always type in regular timecode, 00:00:, let's say 5 seconds, 10 frames. When I hit return, the playhead jumps to that point in time. Or I can use shorthand. For example, if I want to go to the 5 frame mark, all I need to do is hit the number 5, hit return, and it jumps to 5 frames. If I want to go to 5 seconds, simply click and type in 5.0, hit return, and I jump to 5 seconds. Same thing if I want to go to 5 minutes. 5.0.0 will bring me to 5 minutes. Add another 0.0, 5 hours. Moving over to the right of the playhead position, I'll find a drop-down box. This is the zoom level for this window. You can see it's currently set to fit. It's usually set to fit by default. Fit means if I take this panel and resize it, it will constantly rezoom the frame to fit the panel. Same thing if I shrink it. This is my preferred option for this drop-down menu, as it makes it really versatile. It also works really well with things like the tilde key, which will take a panel and make it full screen. And then I can use tilde again to put it back. Jumping all the way over to the left side of the source panel, we have another set of timecode. This represents the in-out duration of the clip. Currently, there are no in and out points on this clip in the source monitor, so what I'm seeing is the entire duration of this clip. If I come down to the timeline and move the playhead, and then hit the I key to set an in point, and then move the playhead forward in time, and hit the O key to set an out point, I will see that selection represented by a highlight on the timeline. And in the in-out duration, I now see the new duration representing just this selected piece of this clip. Moving over to the left from the in-out duration, we find a wrench. The wrench icon in a panel is for the settings for that panel. In there, I'll find different options that affect the view or playback inside of this panel. Moving over from that, we're going to find the Playback Resolution menu. I have mine currently set to 1/2. When this is set to full, Premiere is attempting to playback every pixel in this video. When half is selected, when I hit play, it's going to drop the resolution by half and play back only half of the pixels in the video. Same thing applies for 1/4. Because this video is HD, 1/8 and 1/16 are not available. As you move up in video resolution, for example 4K footage, these other options become available. Turning down the playback resolution is a great way to improve the performance of video playback inside of Premiere. Turning down the video playback resolution does not affect the final resolution of the exported video. When using this feature, the drop in resolution only occurs whenever you hit the play button. Whenever you pause, the resolution will snap back to full. You can change this setting under the wrench icon. If I want to take a closer look at my selection over here, I'll move the playhead to the selection. Down below the timeline, I'll find a scroll bar. It's currently expanded all the way to the end of the timeline. I can see these 2 dots on either end representing the ends of that bar. If I were to grab the handles on either side of this bar and click and drag in, I can zoom into time to the position of the playhead. I can use this scroll bar to navigate the view backwards or forwards in time. I can also use the shortcut keys plus and minus. Plus zooms in, minus zooms out. Every time I hit plus or minus, it steps 1 step in or 1 step out. When zooming in and out, you're always zooming into and away from the playhead. So if I want to look at somewhere specific, it's helpful to put the playhead there and then zoom into that point in time. Down below the timeline, I'll find the buttons. We've already covered some of these buttons in shortcut form. Starting in the middle, we have play or stop, which is spacebar. The next button over to the right is the step forward by 1 frame. This moves the playhead forward 1 frame at a time every time I click the button. I can also alternatively use my shortcut keys, which are just the arrow keys on the keyboard. The arrow to the right also moves the playhead 1 frame at a time forward. The arrow key to the left does the same as this button, which is move the playhead 1 frame backwards in time. Moving to the next set of buttons outside of those, we have the go to out and go to in. This jumps the playhead either backwards or forwards in time to the in point for this button or the out point for this button. If there is no in or out point, it will simply jump to the beginning or the end of the video. The shortcut key is Shift-O for go to out and Shift-I for go to in. You can also use the up and down arrow keys on the keyboard. Up jumps forward in time, down jumps backwards in time. Jumping to the buttons to the left, we have the buttons for mark out and mark in, which we've already covered as your shortcuts, I and O. If I keep moving to the left to the last button here, this is the Add Marker button. You can see the shortcut is the M key. Adding a marker is useful for marking specific places in time that I might want to take note of. What I'm currently looking at is a single frame marker. Single frame markers are great for marking things like sync points and beats on music. I can also change this into a duration marker to mark a section of time on a clip. Easiest way to do this is to go to my single frame marker, double click on it to get to the marker dialog box. In here, I can give the marker a name and then give it a duration, for example, 5 seconds. I can also select and change the color. And when I hit OK, I will see now instead of a single frame marker, I have a duration marker. This duration marker is editable. I can grab the middle of it and move it in time to position it exactly where I want it. I can also grab the handles at the beginning and trim it in, or at the end and do the same, and really finesse exactly which part of the clip I want this marker to cover. Adding a duration marker is a great way to add notes directly onto your footage. And one of the really helpful things with markers is that they are visible in the timeline. Right-clicking in the timeline of the source panel allows you to either clear your in and out points, add markers, or clear markers. Jumping to the far right side of the buttons, we see one that looks like a small camera. This is the Export Frame button. Export Frame is a great way to take a full resolution screen grab of whatever I'm looking at in the source panel. To use, simply move your playhead to the frame that you want to export, let's say this one here. Click the Export Frame button, and in the dialog box that appears, you can add a name. The default name will be the name of the clip plus the timecode of the frame that you're exporting. Select a format. I'm going to select JPEG. And then under Path, select Browse to pick where you're going to save that screen grab. You can also turn on this option here, which will import that screen grab back into the project. Moving over to the left of the camera, we have the last two buttons up here, Overwrite and Insert, which I'll cover in another video, but are used to move footage from the source panel to the timeline panel. If I have a clip in the source monitor that also has audio, I can switch in between the video and audio views to look at different parts of the clip. These buttons in the center underneath the preview frame allow me to switch from the video view to the audio view by simply clicking on the one that I want to see. In the audio view, I'm going to see the waveforms representing the audio tracks attached to this clip. Waveforms are a visual representation of sound. The louder the sound, the larger the amplitude of the wave. Waveforms are helpful for fine-tuning adjustments on things like dialogue and music.